Boldwood presents The Love Notes, written by Aimee Brown and read by Josh Witchard and Jennifer Woodward. The moral right of the author has been asserted. This performance is owned by Boldwood. Prologue. Brooks Hudson. 6 months ago. Ugh. I groan, rolling over and grabbing my ringing phone from my nightstand. I finally get to sleep and someone interrupts me. Yeah? I had a dream, she says, exaggerating each word. She had a dream. Fucking hell. I thought divorce meant you didn't call your ex-husband anymore after dark. Business and emergency calls only. I also had a dream, I say, rolling onto my stomach and resting my head on my left arm. It was great, too. I had an ex-wife that didn't wake me up to tell me about some stupid vision she's had. She laughs into the phone. You'll never escape me. We have a child together, so, like it or not, you get me for life. This is what our parents meant when they said we were too young to get married. I get it now. Will you listen? This seems important. You talk. I'll sleep. Fine. I was in this room. It was all white. White walls, white floors, white rugs, white curtains, white... It was white. I interrupt her. Yeah, I'm following. Continue. Anyway, Grumpy, you were there, and besides Elijah and me, you were alone. Nobody else was there, not your parents, not Ty or Oz, none of your friends. You were alone, Brooks, and it was one of those life-changing moments. Like your death. She says it dramatically, as if this is absolutely factual, a real Nostradamus moment. Dun, dun, dun. She laughs, but I'm sure it's less because I'm funny and more that she doesn't enjoy me making fun of her supernatural gifts from the universe. Her reading people's aura and drawing tarot cards in high school was a fun party trick that we all enjoyed. I'm no longer at that point in our relationship, and haven't been since she decided I wasn't her predestined star-crossed lover, a.k.a. the one, soulmate, twin flame, the Ryan Reynolds to her Blake Lively, the Ben Affleck to her J-Lo. After death, you can't call me. Sounds nice. Quiet. Peaceful. Relaxing even. Where the hell do I sign up? Funny, she says, not laughing. This is serious, Brooks. I think you might die alone. Okay, well, I appreciate the warning. Wait, she says, somehow sensing the incoming blast of silence that is me disconnecting our call. There was a woman that walked in as I was leaving. She was beyond devastated. I think she might have been your soulmate. This makes me open my eyes, now staring at the ceiling, and not because I'm constantly searching for the one. After marrying and divorcing Nora, I know there is no such thing as soulmates. I don't think anyone on this planet is meant for anyone else. Everything we do is the result of whatever choices we've made. There's no destiny, no fate, no karmic influence taking names and kicking ass. Bad things happen to good people, and evil, more often than not, gets away with it. I have just one question. Please tell me it wasn't you. She heaves a sigh into the phone, clearly irritated with my apparent disinterest. It wasn't me. She had dark hair, emerald green eyes, and heels higher than I have ever attempted. I like her already. Now I just need to hop on my trusty steed and search the world for this dark-haired, emerald-eyed, stiletto-wearing damsel and convince her to fall in love with me. I'll do this, of course, in all the spare time I have between work, Elijah, and you. You're missing the point. She's your literal soulmate. You won't have to look for her. You'll just find one another. That's how fate works, Brooks. I can't believe we were married so long and you learned nothing. I learned how not to be married. It's not so bad, a little lonely, but I'm surviving it. I forgot how irritating you are when awoken from a dead sleep. Glad I could remind you. Bye. I tap the end call button before she can say anything else and flip my phone onto silent. My soulmate? Like I'm going to run after a woman my ex-wife sees in her dreams. No thanks.
Chapter 1. Mercy Alexander. Present day. Most boring couple ever, I whisper, glancing around at the guests. This wedding looks like a last-minute backyard barbecue, but I know it's not because this couple booked us a year ago. The whole place is casual. Besides the wedding party, the only man here wearing a tie is Dylan. Some of these people are in jean shorts. Not that there's anything wrong with a last-minute casual wedding. If it were me, though, and I'd spent this much money on a party to declare my love for some guy, people better wear ties and tiaras. Plus, I prefer dressier events because I like clothes and shoes. It's like window shopping. A happy distraction from my mind spiraling that I'm playing my 500th wedding, and with each one, I'm reminded I'll likely never find this happily ever after crap, nor do I want it, or at least I didn't think I did. But now that I'm 30 and helping my best friends plan their wedding, something inside isn't settling into my usual bury your feelings ways. My head is trying to revive my heart that's been in a decades-long coma, and believe it or not, it's responding, and it's painful. I'm certain I'd rather focus on who's wearing what so I can describe it well enough to Google and find it online later than continue listening to my insides whispering about something I'm terrified of. Pachelbel's Canon is a classic wedding song, Merce. Some people enjoy traditional. Dylan, my level-headed business partner, says. Traditional would be black tie. This feels more like Elvis in velvet at a 24-hour wedding chapel in Vegas. Elvis in velvet? He repeats my words, shaking his head with each one. Weddings. We play at least one practically every weekend. Dylan and I run a company called Love Notes. Our shop is in downtown Portland, where we sell and rent stringed instruments and pianos, book gigs, give lessons, and do private work for musician hires in our recording studio. Both of us play multiple instruments fluently, and we have a side gig once or twice a month as our stringed duo cover band, Violated. Bach and Beethoven aren't songs you'll find Violated playing. We shock the fancy right out of folks with pop, rock, rap, and alternative hits. That's right, I can play Nirvana on 5 instruments. I don't understand the world's need to pair everyone off. Love doesn't last, at least not for most people. It's why our country's divorce rate is through the roof. I think marriage licenses should have 10-year expiration dates, and if you choose not to renew, you're over automatically. It'd be mostly painless because you knew it was coming, so you've probably discussed it. No one is to blame. Your license expired, so you went your separate ways. It seems a little drastic, but I'd bet many people would take the easy out. Dylan stares at me, blank-faced except for the "you're weird and I don't understand why I like it" crooked grin he's got plastered on his face. "You've got this romance vibe down," he says as he positions his cello. Do I seem bitter? A tad. We get the cue from the wedding planner that our time to shine is now. The bridal party is on their way down the aisle to Canon in D, played via cello, Dylan, and violin, me. Once the entire entourage of 8 bridesmaids, 8 groomsmen, a ring bearer named Buster, their Doberman, and a crying flower girl carried by her jean cargo short and flip-flop clad father have made it down the aisle, our performance ends. Dylan leans into me. 3 years, he whispers. I scrunch my face, inspecting the couple. I'd already guessed low because the groom had no reaction when the bride appeared at the end of the aisle. That's my favorite part, seeing how the groom reacts to his bride. That one moment can tell me if it's forever or not. But this guy didn't shed even one tear. No heavy, "I'm so lucky" sigh, not even a crack of a smile. He just stood there stone-faced like her father threatened his life just before this moment. He showed more enthusiasm when his best man marched down the aisle and they fist-bumped as they met. I can't be the only person who noticed this. The couple isn't even holding hands, just standing beside one another awkwardly. Not a great sign, so I see why Dylan guessed low. We have this game we play at weddings, not out loud or anything, primarily through whisper conversations as we sit at the back of the room, watching a couple we don't know marry and guessing how long they'll last based on the ceremony alone. Some have the vibe of forever, but most don't. Dylan is calling it early this time. Usually he waits until the end so he has the whole picture because that's the kind of guy he is. He's careful with his decisions, no matter how big or small. He researches anything he wants to buy for months before finally dropping the cash. The man's middle name is Responsibility, whereas mine is, maybe, Cynical? I'm going 8, I whisper back, intentionally guessing higher than him for the first time, just for fun. 8? They each have at least 8 friends, which means they'll go to every one of them for advice when things start to fall apart, and it'll take that long for them to agree. I could point out a dozen other faux pas, but considering he's wearing a white tux with tails and it's not 1988, must I say more? Dill shakes his head. We should be playing one of Penny's ballads, or Phil Collins. Penny is my best friend, Holland's mother. She's former pop star Penny Candy, who's actually met Phil Collins. She's trying to make a comeback, but things are moving rather slowly on that front. Maybe I'll suggest she switch over to wedding singer. This wedding could have used her today. This is why you don't get to pick the music, Dylan says. Admit it. Guessing the demise of couples is my one talent. I always win. You have more than one talent, he says, eyeing the violin in my lap. I can sense a pending breakup from miles away. Remember the couple that didn't even make it to their I-dos? I called that one the moment we walked in. How could I forget the wedding where the police were called before the reception? Inviting your exes, yes, multiple, who are still in love with you isn't a great idea, is what I learned that day. Nobody was prepared for what happened when that priest asked the age-old question, "Does anyone object? Speak now or forever hold your peace." A myriad of men and women stood, and it was an absolute dumpster fire from that moment on. A train wreck Dill and I couldn't look away from, so we played like we were going down with the Titanic. You got plans tonight? Dill asks. I was thinking about making fish tacos like those we had in L.A. that time. I have enough for you and even River if you want to come over later. We can't usually talk through weddings, but for this one, we're way in the back of the room, far from any guests, so as long as we keep it a hair above a whisper, I don't have to melt my mind with pre-written vows I could recite in my sleep. I also have wine. He attempts to entice me with alcohol, but I think he's forgotten who he's talking to because I rarely say no to free dinner, let alone drinks. I don't need bribery. Free leaves more money for me to add to my shoe collection. Sadly, this time, I have to decline. Can't. Ed found a library doing outdoor movies this summer, and tonight one is showing La La Land. I promised him I'd go. When Dill's eyebrows lift, I know he's into it. We met while playing the La La Land tour with the Portland Symphony. Dylan's been one of my best friends for 5 years, and this movie is how it all happened. It's our all-time favorite for totally different reasons. Dill's in love with the music and the sweeping romantic essence the whole thing has. I love it because it doesn't end in a happily ever after. None of my favorite movies do. La La Land, Up in the Air, Shop Girl. Watch them. They're true to life. Yes, it's sad, but life can be a real crapshoot for some people, and through living that myself, I've discovered things don't often go as you've planned, and the romantics hate it. I've tried to picture my own happily ever after, but real life reminds me it's not realistic minute by minute. I'm surviving, and only just at that. "Wanna come with?" I ask, knowing from the smile on his face that he's ready to toss the fish tacos to Mozart, his asshole cat, and spend an evening with my brother and me. "Yeah," he says with a wide smile. "Is there anything more fun than mixing a musical with Eddie?" I snicker. He's going to sing all the songs not quite under his breath, so yeah, I can think of many more fun things. Please bring the wine. After the insanely long ceremony, and as the two of us exit through the cocktail hour, a glass of champagne somehow ends up in my hand. It always does. I'm just lucky like that. Dylan loads our instruments into his car, taking my violin from me and spotting the glass immediately. "Mercy," he moans. "A man just handed it to me as we walked through. It would have been rude to reject it." Once we're in the car, I hand him the now empty glass. It's plastic, filled with mid-grade champagne. Either they didn't want to splurge or they're broke, and since money is one of the main fights that break couples up, I confidently stand by my less than 8 years, and I may even be leaning more towards your 3. He nods proudly. "When I win this one, you're paying for lunch at some point." If I lose, I'll consider it. Just after 9:30, Dylan and I are walking down the path from the parking lot to an ornately landscaped lawn with fountains bubbling at the back of the brick library building. The property is filled with people lounging under the darkening skies, some in lawn chairs, others lying on blankets, but all of them chattering to their groups happily. Summer has officially started, and the world seems happy. I know I am, mainly because Dill drove, so I didn't have to waste the gas. And when I asked him to stop by the Starbucks so I could grab an iced coffee, he volunteered to pay for his and mine. Win. Yes, we hang out even when we're not at work. It would be easier to count the hours I don't see him. Long story short, Dylan secured the apartment across the hall from his when he learned Eddie and Carlos had announced they'd bought the cutest little craftsman home there ever was, Ed's words, and they'd be moving into it together, alone. Now, my best friend's little brother, River, and I live together in downtown Portland, splitting everything halvesies in a shithole 3-story walk-up with hot water for about 65% of your shower, so you gotta move quickly. It's not luxurious, but it's mine, and I feel safe living with and near 2 guys I mostly enjoy and trust with my life. It's dusk, but quickly moving into nighttime. Lights are wound up tree trunks, providing a bit of a glow so people can see. The starlit sky is the perfect background, and the light of the moon is mesmerizing. It almost makes the entire atmosphere romantic, which is probably what they're hoping for, considering the movie they chose to play. "Mercy, girl!" Ed waves frantically like I might miss him. "Over here!" His face lights up at the sight of Dylan. I forgot these two were secretly in love. Not really, but they might as well be because Eddie adores Dylan. It's possible he likes him more than me. "Eddie," Dylan says like they're old friends reunited. "Dylan Santiago, oh, how I've missed you at family dinners lately." Ed's gaze darts to me. I glare. He would say that out loud. Just last week, he suggested I bring Dylan again because I'm more fun when he's around. He's convinced Dylan is the perfect man, and I am somehow too stupid to see it. "I'd come just for Carlos's cooking, but showing up without an invite seems stalkerish," Dill says as he glances around Ed. "He's not here tonight?" Eddie shakes his head with a frown. He's with his other love, the restaurant. Ah, Dill says. Well, speaking of food, I brought some. He pats the backpack slung over his shoulder. You made the tacos? I ask. He could have told me. I'd have helped. I had enough and didn't eat yet. Did you? I lift my shoulders. Does a cup of coffee and a hard-boiled egg count? No. Did I hear tacos? Ed asks, his hands in a prayer position in front of his chest. Fish tacos, my specialty, Dill says, handing Ed his bag. Yum! I'm so glad she brought you, he says eagerly, setting the bag on the blanket in front of him and patting either side. Sit. We'll have so much fun. How have you been, doll? It's been a hot minute since I saw you. I saw you yesterday. Talking to Dill, love. Ed holds a hand in my direction to shut me up. So sorry, I say, a little vexed he's more excited to see Dylan than the little sister he raised. I silence myself, sitting to Ed's left while Dylan situates himself to Eddie's right. The two spread Dylan's perfectly made fish tacos in front of us while chit-chatting about life, and, like the intelligent man I know Dylan is, he pulls the wine he mentioned earlier from his bag. Right when I thought he couldn't be more perfect, Ed says, glancing my way and batting his eyes. I roll mine in return. Once the movie starts, we quiet, eating in silence with our eyes glued to the wall-sized screen. It's funny how Ed and I react to the love-at-first-sight moment between Mia and Seb, both of us pulling our hands to our chest with a nearly silent gasp, even though I don't believe. We're related even though no one would ever guess we are. Our dad is a pathetic white guy who knocked up my 16-year-old mother, who then decided the situation was too bad for her, but she left me there. 10 years prior, Eddie's mom left when she found out she was pregnant with him and never looked back. Ed wasn't even allowed to see Nick because his mother was the smartest, most thoughtful woman I'd ever met. I used to wish she was my mother, but I got the next best thing because Ed is just like her, from his personality to his looks. He's tall, with light brown skin, a total dancer's body, a complexion to die for, hazel eyes, and short black shaved hair. And I look just like Nick, our sperm donor, with dark hair, green eyes, an olive-toned complexion, with a splatter of freckles across my face that one foster mom once swore would fade with age. I don't know what it is about this scene that gets me. I absolutely do not believe in love at first sight, or love at all, but this movie makes me want to believe, right until Seb's response. Then I'm reminded both life and love suck. I'll leave this movie tonight in my safe little love-hating bubble and be perfectly happy without ever having to experience it because I already know it's the most painful emotion of them all. Suddenly, it happens. Ed stands, encouraging other couples to do the same. After he's match-made half a dozen folks with strangers for an impromptu dance party, and as Ryan Gosling and Emma Stone sing their first duet together, he extends his hand my way. What are you doing? No, I refuse him immediately. Having fun. What are you doing? Pretending you don't exist. Go, Dill encourages, pushing me Ed's way. I glare as Ed chuckles at getting his way. He pulls me from the ground by my hand and dances me across the grass while singing the song like he's in the movie. Your part's coming up, he says between his lines. I could do it. I know every word, but no way am I. We may share a performance gene, but his is much more extroverted than mine. You're lucky I'm entertaining you with the dance at all. I'm in heels in the grass, and I've been drinking wine from the bottle. And you make it all look easy, darling. He glances over my shoulder, his smile suddenly fading. Dylan looks sad. He does have a slight frown on his face. I don't know why. He seemed happy until now, and I know he loves this movie as much as I do. Not to mention, he's easily the best-looking man in this crowd. He's tall, with a head full of dark curls that are currently a touch too long, and he's utterly handsome with his caramel-colored eyes and 5 o'clock shadow now surfacing a few hours too late. He could probably ask any woman here to dance, and not one would say no. He's sad because he's being a party pooper, I say. You inspired him off his patootie and out of his comfort zone. Now he just sits there like a sad little puppy in his Dockers and Ralph Lauren polos, admiring you from afar. He's the perfect man, Merce. When will you wake up and see it? Ed, I groan. We've had this conversation 1,000,000 times. I've told you, we're just friends now, nothing more. You two never had fireworks. I shake my head. No lightning, no heart flips, no fireworks. He's a safe choice and perfect as my backup. You have a backup? If you must know, I've got 2. A backup, Dylan, with the rule that if we're the last single standing in our group of friends when I'm 40, he's the guy I'll run to. Then I've got a backup to my backup, just in case. In case of what? Have you looked at Dylan? He doesn't exactly make anyone want to pour acid into their eyes. He smirks. That was like poetry, darling. I'm just saying, he's someone's knight in shining armor. I just don't think he's mine. Ed is getting tired of this conversation, and it shows. Who is your backup if Dylan falls for some gorgeous maiden who is not you? I don't want to say. Ed rolls his eyes hard. You're a little bit maddening. I think you've got that heart of yours gagged so tight there's no way it could possibly tell you to fall for Dylan or anyone else. I sigh heavily. This is Ed's thing. Fall for Dylan. He's perfect, handsome, responsible, the whole package. Before I know it, I've overthought his words long enough that he's danced me right to him and I didn't even notice. His now outstretched hand, extended Dylan's way, says he's ready to pass me off. That's why he didn't partner Dylan with some unsuspecting woman earlier. He had a plan. I shoot Dill a don't do it look, but by the coy grin on his face, not to mention that he's now on his feet, something tells me we're doing this. Merce, he greets me with a guilty smile. Here we are. I take his hand, allowing him to slide his other around my waist. You know what I love? He asks as he dances me towards the back of the crowd. Fish tacos? He shakes his head. Never being late for anything? Another head shake and smirk. Dockers as weekend wear? He laughs, shaking his head again. I love how you pretend to hate romance and wear this anti-love armored suit, but your favorite parts of this movie are the romantic parts. Deep down, I know you wished Seb and Mia would have ended up together. Are you kidding me? Everyone did. But life is complicated, and when you think the timing is right, it swoops in to prove you wrong. Is it sad? A little. But at the same time, maybe the timing was off so something else wouldn't be late. You think their timing was off? Possibly. I don't know. It's a movie. I'm not investigating it for between-the-line clues like I'm in a college reading class. I'd love for all this romantic crap to be true, but my life hasn't been that way. Well, that's because you insist on living in the past. The past is a part of who I am. That's not living in it. You either accept me at my worst, past included, or not at all. If I could escape it, you know I would. But I can't. Unfortunately, I know what it's like to have the people meant to love you unconditionally not. That armored suit is a shield against Cupid because I can't take one more heartbreak. Pieces of my heart are spread all over this city, Dill. Because of that, my life's motto has become, keep your heart out of it. I'm aware of your motto. He rolls his eyes. After a beat of silence and him visibly considering his following words, he speaks softly. We spend every weekend at weddings. Have you seriously never considered it being you at the end of that aisle? I play How Long Will This Couple Make It at weddings and write my obituary in my head during funerals. I don't think we have the same daydreams. He doesn't look overly pleased with my response. He kind of looks worried, to be honest. Do you picture yourself as the groom while we play weddings? Yeah, he says. Who's your bride? I ask curiously. I don't know, he says. She's still fuzzy. Well, if you're wrong, I'll see you there in 10 years, and I expect tears. He chuckles to himself. You really think that'll happen? There's no way. You're more than capable of love, Merce, both giving and receiving. I don't think I am, I insist, utterly unsure of myself and almost ashamed of the words because I do love myself. I just can't picture anyone doing the same with all my issues sporadically surfacing at usually the worst times ever. Even I can barely stand it. And despite my backup plan, not to mention the second one, I've mostly made my peace that I'll end up the single friend who never let anyone close enough and will die alone, found weeks later with the remote in my hand and the Netflix screen displaying the "Are you still watching?" screen. Maybe you don't think you deserve it, but you couldn't be more wrong, Dill says quietly, his breath on my neck as the song ends. I've spent 5 years with you daily. I know you well enough to know at least that. As the song ends, we slowly step away from one another, our hands dropping apart last. The walk back to our seats is awkward, but not. This is just us. We talk about anything comfortably. He knows all my secrets practically, though typically he's not so over-the-top, you deserve to be loved. For the rest of the movie, I'm silent. My eyes are on the screen as my insides fight off a panic attack, jousting style. Why is he talking about love all of a sudden? It's painful and cringy, but something about it intrigues me to the point where I'm considering his words, and it confuses the hell out of me.
Chapter 2. Brooks. We need to talk, Kristen says out of the blue. Shit. The 4 words I regularly hear have left her lips, and I didn't see them coming. Again. Hazy shades of pinks and purples fill the sky as the sun sets. A breeze rustles through the leaves of the trees lining the sidewalk. It seems like the perfect night to be suddenly single again. I'm not upset, mainly because this happens every time I date. I should have guessed it when she asked me to meet her here, instead of me picking her up. I've never dumped a woman. Ever. Things seem great, then bam, we need to talk enters the ring. I reach for her hand, testing my theory. Before I can touch her, she shoves them into her pockets. Yep, she's dumping me. When I was first divorced, I was excited to return to the dating world. I met my ex-wife in high school, so I'd never really dated. I was intrigued to find out what all the fuss was about. It's been over 7 years now, and I'm not anymore. Dating sucks. The pool is shallow, peed in, and I just want out. But not alone? So there is no out. Let that run through your head, every sleepless night for all of eternity. Why am I suddenly so hot? I pull the neck of my shirt away from my chest, the breeze it creates helping. What's up? I don't know how to say this. Here we go. I'm finally starting that book I've meant to write when I get home. How to get dumped regularly without even trying. A memoir. If I were a superhero, I'd be dumped dude. No cape needed, just loneliness, one really soft hand, and the ability to repel women with every life decision I've ever made. I'm not ready for the kid thing. She lifts a shoulder, glancing over at me with a silent sorry. And there's no way I could bring you home to my mother. Ouch! God, I'm not suitable mother material anymore. The kid thing, I get. It's not for everyone. It takes a huge heart to take on someone else's child. But now I'm offensive to mothers? Damn. Why? I have to know. Don't get me wrong, she says, suddenly turning to me, her hand on my bicep, her fingers tracing the outline of a tattoo. I think you're boiling hot, but my mom won't appreciate all the tattoos. She's going to think you just got out of prison. Prison? I feel like I should be offended. Then I remember I was at the jail today. For work. But still. Obviously her mom doesn't know the difference between tattoos you pay a pretty penny for and those done behind bars by a not-so-small guy called Slim, working a tattoo gun made from an ink pen. This isn't great for the self-esteem, I won't lie. I was considering asking you to my brother's wedding next weekend, but I can't. My dad would die when he saw you. He'd die? Over a nice, divorced, single dad with a complicated job and thousands of dollars worth of tattoo ink under my skin? Seems a little over the top. Not because of the tattoos, more because you're older and a father. The fact that you've been married before, your job situation. She says these words slowly, hesitantly, like she's breaking bad news I wasn't already in on. But this? She motions between us, a sweet, thankful smile now on her face. Has been fun. Way, way fun. You really know what you're doing in the, She rocks her head in the vague direction of my apartment. You know. I've got one talent mention-worthy and that's it? Jesus, I want to be offended, but how can I? It seems like that should make me feel better about all this. A braggable trait to pad this breakup story when I tell it to my buddies. She didn't like me personally, but I'm excellent in bed. Maybe that was the point of her throwing it in the way she did, an attempt at distracting my heart with my ego. But I'm stuck on one word she used. Older. Older? Since when is 36 older? Of course, she's 25, so technically I am older than her, but in my defense, she hit on me the night we met. I'm not out hunting for women a decade younger than me or anything. Am I officially now in the older man category? Fuck. I clear my throat. I'm hearing that we're ending this after I buy you dinner? She grimaces, nodding her head slowly. Well then, I say with a sigh. I'm going to be rude and skip the first bit. I pull my wallet from my pocket and hand her 20. For dinner. Text me and let me know you got home safe. And, good luck? Is that what you say after being dumped? Good luck? You think I'd be better at this as often as I've been left over the years. Usually they don't do it in person. Text messages saved me many a time from deciding what to do or say immediately after a breakup. I prefer to this. She stares at me, a confused look on her face as I back away from her towards the parking garage my truck is in, jogging across the road and disappearing into the city, never looking back. Why stay? As I walk, I pull my phone from my pocket, tapping the contact who calls me the most, even though he's rarely got anything new to say. You banned me from calling you on date nights, the lover boy. Remember? Didn't want me in your head during sexy times. Oz barks, clearly joking but playing it off like he's not. What the hell do you want? He always busts my balls before he even says hello. I'm headed your way. Oh, now you want to come play? I thought you couldn't make it tonight 'cause you've got a hot date. He mimics my voice with that last part but makes it high and whiny. This prick. If I hadn't known him since I was 9, I'd tell him to fuck off. I said I couldn't play 'cause I wanted to get laid. I'm kidding. Kind of. Instead, she ended things, so... Again? Damn, bro. I feel like you're breaking records with how good you are at that part. I always knew there was something wrong with you, but Portland women are really proving it. I'm gonna punch you when I get there. Aw, did Ozzy hurt your delicate little feelings? Her calling me an older dude hurt my feelings. Older, Oz. Well, Grandpa, he says with a chuckle, even though none of this is funny. In the world of dating 20-something-year-olds, You are older. Older, fatherly, with a nutty ex-wife who's not afraid to show up and hang out like your friends, and you got a kid you worship. No woman wants that much baggage in a dude. You sure know how to give a pep talk. I've been considering adding motivational speaker to my list of talents. What you think? I think I almost don't want to drive off this bridge. My first glowing review. Now get your ass over here and show that wife of mine how to play guitar like a pro. The drive across town takes longer than usual, as it's Friday night. The streets are busy as people hunt for where to spend their evening. I got lucky when Oz bought the bar 10 years ago. We've always got someplace to hang out, someplace cooler than on our couches in front of our TVs. It makes me feel like I've got some kind of life when I spend most of my time working, with my daughter, or trying to catch up on my sleep. A couple Saturdays a month, though, I try to make time to play guitar with the garage cover band my friend, brother, and I started when we were teenagers to compete in a high school talent show that we won every year after. Don't panic. That's what we named it. There he is. Ty, my little brother, stands from the bar stool he's on. The kick-to-the-curb king himself. He lifts his beer, toasting my terrible relationship skills. He needs to be uglier, Oz says, a bar towel over one shoulder as he leans against the counter behind him. Women expect too much from him. His face don't match his personality. How's that? I ask, a little offended. Women look at you and expect a badass alpha male. Yeah, you're nothing but a teddy bear in a tattoo suit. I shake my head, an irritated chuckle leaving my lips. Why do I like you again? Opposites attract. You're Captain Boring and I'm Captain Awesome. Get it? Awesome? Like awesome? Ty and I intentionally stare at him like we don't get it. His reaction to this is funnier than laughing at a joke he's been telling since we were 12. Fine, he huffs. Don't laugh, you assholes. Before you get your pretty panties in a bunch, you can play tonight, all right? He steps up to the bar before me, patting my cheek. My phone buzzes in my pocket, interrupting Oz as he tries to flick me shit over nothing and everything all at once. Our usual routine. I know exactly who's calling too. My favorite person on the planet. Hey, Allie. Her sweet face fills my screen, her chestnut-colored curly hair frizzy after a day's worth of activities. She looks so much like Nora, who annoys me at times now, but she's not unpleasant to look at. So I'm not sad our daughter is her spitting image. The most significant difference is that Elijah's crystal blue eyes sparkle with the joy only a 6-year-old still has. Hi, Daddy, she says excitedly. She calls me to say goodnight every night if she's with her mom. When she's with me, she calls Mommy to do the same. Where are you? I'm at Oz's. I pan the camera around me to Ty and Oz, who wave obnoxiously. She gasps through a grin. Is Sophie there? Sophie's my 6-year-old niece. She and Allie are best friends, so we spend a lot of time at my brother's when I've got her. Sophie's home, probably in bed, like you should be. You ready? Yeah, she groans. You don't want to go to bed? I walk from the bar towards the back office to hear her. My new room is scary, she says timidly. Nora and her husband Levi bought a house recently. They moved in a month ago. At first, my ex getting married was weird for me. Trusting someone else with my kid isn't exactly something that came easily. What's scary about it? I don't know, Allie says. Do you think you could check my closet sometime? Levi says monsters aren't real, but I told him you hunt monsters every day. I mean, I'm no Dean Winchester, but I get what she means. Different kinds of monsters, Al. But yeah, we'll do a little closet investigation next time I'm there, all right? Carry the phone over, and I'll have a look right now. Okay, she giggles, hopping off her bed and carrying the phone to her closet. Let me just get the light. The camera flips away from her as she scans the closet for me. See anything? She yells. Everything looks good. No monsters. Wait a second, I say dramatically, staring at the screen now aimed at toy bins in her closet. She does this at Nora's place too, strips all the Barbies and leaves them naked because she can't get the clothes back on them. After dressing a few myself, we've realized I've not got small enough fingers. so they stay naked at my place. Now it's just one giant tub I affectionately call Barbie's Dream Nudist Colony. Is that a naked boy, Barbie? She grabs the doll, flashing his smooth bits to the camera. His name's Ken, Daddy. I can't get his clothes on again. But he needs to wear something because he's going on a date with Barbie tomorrow, and it's got to be romantical. The way she says it makes me laugh. We talked about this recently. Dating. Not naked dating, but mommy and daddy dating. Or in Nora's case, marrying other people, and how it didn't mean we loved her any less. Then she asked if it made me love mommy less. Yes, it does. Well, that isn't what I told her because I'm an adult. Poor Ken, going on a date. I'll cross my fingers for the plastic sucker. Allie's adorable face fills the screen again, dimples punctuating her smile. Want to check under my bed next? Let's do it. The camera practically drops to the floor as she flashes me a look under her bed. A couple of stuffed animals, a rogue sock covered in rainbow hearts. No monsters. All clear. She lifts the phone to her face again. Thanks, Dad. Ugh, I grab my chest. Dad? She seems to be phasing out the word daddy. I'm slowly being kicked to the curb by my daughter, too. One more sleep, baby, then you get to be at my place for the week. We'll do something way fun. Sound good? I can't wait. Love you, Allie girl. I love you more. Night, Daddy. She bounces around, pressing a kiss to the camera lens, before the screen eventually goes dark as she ends the call. It's cute you still do that every night she's not with you. Angel, Oz's wife, says, approaching the bar from the back office where I'm now standing. How's she doing? She's the one girl on the planet who thinks I'm cool and hopes the world is full of rainbows, butterflies, and only a few monsters that she's sure Daddy can take care of. Angel laughs, shaking her head. You're perfect as a girl, Dad. I honestly thought you'd freak over a daughter, but you seem to love it. Naked Barbie dolls and all. Nobody gives you a book on parenting. It's not easy. It's messy, expensive, and you're permanently tired. Things you never expected break your heart, and there's no way I can protect her from all the evil that wanders this planet. It haunts me in a way that gets worse with every passing birthday. When she's 16, I don't doubt I'll be that dad trekking her car and trailing her across the city to ensure she's not gotten herself into trouble. I do love it. Naked Barbie dolls and all. Never tell Oz, but Elijah's my best friend. My daughter's name is Elijah, pronounced Elijah. We call her a menagerie of things. Allie, Al, Elijah, Brooks kid, the girl, Oz. She answers to all of it. See? Totally cute. Angel stops walking, momentarily turning back to me. Wait. Why are you here? She asks, nodding for me to walk with her. I thought you were on a date. She slides behind the bar with Ozzy, who's now busy chatting up some regular customers across the way. Yeah. I sit down next to Tyler. Didn't work out. She called me old and dumped me instead. She looks from the register with a gasp. Old? Offensive. Angel is 2 years older than me, so I knew she'd understand. Maybe you should raise your lady age preference. I've got no age preference. I just attract the under 26 crowd. I don't know why. They don't seem to enjoy me long. If only the rest of us got that option, Ty says as he nudges me with his shoulder. Funny. I nudge him back, practically knocking him off his stool, but he saves it and never spills even a drop of the beer in his hand. Tyler's 2 years younger than me. Shorter, dumber, uglier. I'm mostly kidding. As teens, hell, even now, that's how I introduce him just for laughs. He took the annoying younger brother to a whole new level. After realizing I was the bigger brother for good, he joined track and field so he could train to sprint away from me after intentionally pissing me off. A move that saved his life many times over. Yet, as adults, I'd consider him best friend number 2. Where's your nicer half? I ask. Emily is Ty's wife. They married right out of high school, much like Nora and me. Usually they'd have dropped the kid with my parents and she'd be here with him. Saturday nights are our thing. Me when I can, the rest of them rarely miss a week. Our circle isn't complete without her. Angel glances at me with only her eyes, her brows raised halfway up her forehead. I know that face. Someone has a secret. Em isn't feeling great tonight, Ty says uncomfortably. If only she'd have swallowed, eh? Oz says with a laugh, now stopping in front of me. You heartbroken still? Or did Allie cheer you up? You need a hug, Sugar Plum? He extends his arms like he'll cling onto the bar and hug me. No thanks. I shove him away. What do you mean, if only she'd Wait. I turn to Ty, studying his drink as he avoids looking us in the eye. His go-to move when he's done something he doesn't want to discuss. Ozzy's words suddenly fall into place in my head. She's pregnant? Ty nods, a slight smile turning the edges of his lips. I don't know how it happened. Ozzy rolls his eyes dramatically. First, you find a lady you like. He grabs Angel as she tries to walk past him, pulling her to him, his hands on her waist. Then heat things up with a little foreplay. He makes a crude gesture with his tongue that I don't want to spend too much time thinking about. Angel veers away from him, attempting to escape. Then slide tab A into slap B without a raincoat and bam, baby. He pumps his hips into Angel's before releasing her, slapping her ass as she walks away with a shake of her head. You've done this before, man. How does it still mystify you? In case it's not painfully obvious, Ozzy's my obnoxious friend. The one who embarrasses all of us regularly. He has absolutely zero manners, looks like the love child of Tommy Lee and Jack Black. But the guy has a heart of gold. It's very deep down and rarely surfaces, but I swear it exists. Damn, little bro. You're about to be busy. I'm telling you, boys, Oz doesn't give Ty a chance to